Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. Today, we're diving into the world of Florence Scovel Shinn and her ideas about, well, the power of thought. You might have heard that phrase, your word is your wand.
Yes, indeed, that's one of hers. Shinn was a big name in the New Thought movement. Basically, it's all about how our thoughts, they have this creative power to really impact our lives.
And we're looking at 3 of her books today, right? The Game of Life and How to Play It, The Secret Door to Success, and The Power of the Spoken Word. So what are some of the key takeaways from these? What's Shinn all about?
Well, across these books, there's a constant theme. Our thoughts, they're incredibly powerful. She says, by changing how we think, we actually change our reality.
That's a pretty bold claim. Does she give examples, real life stuff to show how this actually plays out?
Oh, tons. She uses a lot of real life stories, kind of like parables, I guess you could say, to get her point across. Like, there's this one story about a woman who's really anxious. Her daughter's about to go on a trip, and she doesn't want her to go.
I think a lot of parents can relate to that feeling of wanting to protect their kids.
For sure. So Shinn, she tells this woman to basically let go of the resistance, stop trying to force things her way, and surrender it, to something bigger than herself. She even gives her a specific affirmation to use. It goes, I put this situation in the hands of infinite love and wisdom. If this trip is the divine plan, I bless it and no longer resist. But if it is not divinely planned, I give thanks that it is now dissolved and dissipated.
Wow, that's quite an affirmation. So what happened? Did the daughter still go on the trip?
Nope. Just a couple of days later, the daughter decided not to go.
No way.
It's wild, right? But it shows what Shinn believed about non-resistance.
Yeah.
Basically, the more we resist something we don't want, the more we actually fuel it, By surrendering, this mother, without even meaning to, kind of cleared the way for things to work out.
That's fascinating. Really makes you think, what else in our lives could change if we just let go of that resistance?
Right. And Shinn, she has all these other tools, techniques for getting what you want out of life. One of her most famous is, affirmations.
Affirmations, right. She's known for those. But how do they work? Is it just wishful thinking, or is there something deeper going on?
Shinn was adamant. Affirmations, they were way more than just thinking positive. It's like reprogramming your mind. Taking those old beliefs that hold you back and replacing them with empowering ones, like changing a record on one of those old phonographs. Keep playing the negative record, you'll keep getting the same bad results. But put on a new record, a positive one, and, everything changes, right?
So it's about consciously deciding what thoughts we give our attention to, focusing on what we want, not on what's missing.
Exactly. One of her go-to affirmations for attracting money, for example, is, my supply comes from God and now appears like mushrooms overnight.
Mushrooms overnight. I like that. It's like abundance can show up so fast out of nowhere when we shift our mindset.
Exactly. And she always said, don't put limits on what you believe is possible. We tend to box ourselves in with our own thinking, but the universe, it works from a place of infinite abundance, she'd say.
Like that phrase of hers, don't limit the Holy One of Israel, right? We're tapping into something much bigger than ourselves, something that can make amazing things happen if we just allow it.
Absolutely. And speaking of amazing things, she tells this amazing story about a guy who desperately needed to raise $50,000 for his business.
$50,000? Wow, that's a lot of money, especially back then. What was going on?
He had this deadline, and the bank, they said, no way, no loan. He was desperate. So he went to Shinn for help. She told, go back to the bank. I'm going to treat this situation with my affirmations.
So she was going to focus her positive energy, her affirmations on his behalf? Is that what she meant by treat?
Exactly. Absent treatment, she called it.
Yeah.
So the man, he goes back to the bank, and guess what? They gave him the loan.
No way! After they already said no.
Yep. She really believed our words have a real impact on the world around us. She often called them seeds. You plant them in the fertile ground of your subconscious, and, anything can grow from there,
That's such a powerful image. It really makes you think about the things we say to ourselves and to other people. Kind of like her whole idea of the cruel stepmother, right?
Exactly. She uses that fairy tale Snow White to illustrate this, that cruel stepmother. It's all those nasty thoughts we have about ourselves. Self-doubt, fear of failure, those voices saying we're not good enough. Shinn would say those thoughts, they keep us trapped. Just like Snow White stuck doing all that housework, they stop us from living up to our potential.
It's true. Sometimes we're our own worst enemies. We have these big dreams, but then those negative thought patterns, they creep in and hold us back.
Right. In Shinn, she'd say the first step is simply recognizing those patterns. Become aware of your thoughts, challenge the bad ones, and choose the ones that empower you. the ones that help you grow.
Taking control of that inner voice, shaping it to support our best selves. This reminds me of another big idea she talks about, sowing and reaping.
Oh, absolutely. She uses the analogy of a garden. Our thoughts are the seeds, and the actions we take are like planting those seeds in the ground.
So if we're always planting seeds of, doubt, fear, negativity, we can't expect to harvest a garden full of joy, abundance, and success, right?
Exactly. She really believed in this universal balance. What you give out to the world through your thoughts, words, actions, that's what comes back to you.
What goes around comes around.
Right. She even tells this funny story about a woman who gets a fake $20 bill. And get this, turns out, earlier that week, she had sent some stage money, the fake stuff, to a friend as a joke.
Oh no, so she kind of invited that experience back to herself.
It seems like it, right?
Yeah.
Like the universe has a sense of humor and uses these little coincidences to teach us a lesson.
It definitely makes you think twice. So how do we escape these negative patterns? We talked about affirmations, but what else did Shinn suggest?
One of the most powerful tools, she'd say, is intuition.
Intuition? You mean that gut feeling? What's that got to do with anything?
Shinn, she believed intuition is our direct line to, the divine, That inner voice guiding us towards what's best for us. She said those hunches, those little nudges we get, those aren't just random.
So we shouldn't ignore them, those gut feelings.
Absolutely not. She tells this really compelling story about a man who felt drawn to buy this coat. It was calling to him, even though it was expensive and totally impractical.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What happened? Did the coat come with a winning lottery ticket sewn into the lining or something?
Not quite. But buying that coat set off this chain of events that ended up bringing him a huge financial windfall.
Wow, seriously. So sometimes our intuition knows something our logical mind doesn't, and it can lead to something amazing.
Exactly. It's about trusting that inner voice, even when it doesn't make sense.
This whole idea of trusting our intuition really ties into another big theme for Shinn. Divine design. What did she mean by that?
She believed we all have this special purpose, a path laid out for us by something bigger than ourselves. That's our divine design.
Like we each have our own blueprint for a fulfilling life. I like that.
And she was adamant that it's not something we have to earn, it's already ours. Our job is to align ourselves with it, to find that path that's meant for us.
So how do we do that? How do you even figure out what your own divine design is? Seems impossible, like finding a needle in a haystack.
Shinn would say it starts with listening, really listening, paying attention to those gut feelings, the opportunities that pop up, and trusting that we're being guided.
Like we all have this internal compass, but we forget to look at it, trust where it's pointing.
Right. Shinn, she would ask, what brings you joy? What are you naturally drawn to? Those are the clues.
So forget what everyone else expects, what society says you should do. It's more about tuning into that inner voice.
Totally. Your true calling, she'd say, it's usually a mix of what you love and what you're good at. When you hit that sweet spot, work doesn't feel like work. It becomes an expression of who you really are.
I love that. Work as an expression of your soul's purpose. That's beautiful.
And she gives these practical steps for aligning with that purpose. A lot of it has to do with how we talk about ourselves,
Like what? Give me an example.
Instead of always focusing on flaws, the stuff you think you're bad at, she says focus on what you're good at. Affirm your strengths, your talents.
So instead of saying, I'm not good enough, you'd say, I'm capable, I'm talented, I deserve success.
Exactly. It's about shifting that inner dialogue from beating yourself up to empowering yourself.
Shinn, she truly believed the words we use, they sink into our subconscious and end up shaping our reality.
This is where her whole spoken word idea comes in, right?
Yeah.
Our words have this creative force.
Totally.
Yeah.
She said when you say something out loud, you give it power. Like sending vibrations out into the universe and similar vibes, they gravitate back to you.
It's like we're casting spells with our words, for good or bad. That's a powerful way to put it. She'd say, be mindful of your language, not just what you say to others, but those thoughts you're thinking too. Are they full of abundance, gratitude, or are you reinforcing negativity, lack, without even realizing it?
So positive thinking isn't enough. You have to actually voice it, make it real by speaking it.
Exactly. That's why she loved affirmations. Short, powerful statements to reprogram your subconscious, help you achieve what you want.
Like that one you mentioned before. My supply comes from God and now appears like mushrooms overnight.
That's the one.
It's so catchy and memorable, but also really profound when you think about it.
That's the thing about Shinn. She could be playful, approachable, but her teachings, They had this deep spiritual understanding at their core. She wanted people to connect with the divine, tap into their power, but not in a way that felt like a chore, It should feel good, joyful.
Right, because spirituality can often feel so serious, somber, but Shinn's like, hey, it can be fun, magical even.
Exactly. She even called life a game. In fact, that's the title of one of her most famous books, The Game of Life and How to Play It.
That's right. So what are the rules of this game of life, according to Shinn?
Well, she says it's all governed by spiritual laws, just like the physical world has its laws of physics.
Okay, so give me an example. What kind of laws are we talking about?
One of the big ones is the law of attraction. That idea that we attract what we focus on.
Right, so if you're constantly dwelling on negativity, lack, you're going to attract more of that into your life.
Exactly. But if you cultivate thoughts of abundance, gratitude, joy, guess what you're going to attract more of?
More abundance, gratitude, and joy. So basically, it's about shifting your energy to match what you want to experience.
Exactly. Another big one is the law of cause and effect, which basically means every action has a consequence.
So we're not just like victims of fate. We actually have a say in how our lives unfold.
100%. Shinn, she'd say, we are the creators of our own experience. Take responsibility for your thoughts, your words, your actions, because those have a ripple effect.
So no more blaming other people or outside circumstances for our problems, huh?
Nope. It's about recognizing we have the power to choose a different path, make different choices, and create a better life for ourselves.
That's empowering. But what about those times when it feels like things really are out of our control? Life throws you a curveball, something happens that shakes you to your core. How does Shinn's philosophy apply then?
That's a great question. Shinn acknowledged that challenges, they're a part of life. You can't escape them.
So it's not about pretending everything's always perfect, positive vibes only.
Not at all. She actually believed challenges can be catalysts.
Catalysts for what?
Growth, transformation.
So instead of seeing challenges as, punishments or signs that you've done something wrong, she'd say they're opportunities to learn and grow.
Exactly. She called those tough times the darkness before the dawn. It's in those moments when we're really tested that we discover our inner strength.
So it's when things are hardest that we often find out how strong and resilient we really are.
Exactly. Embrace those challenges. They're not there to break you, they're there to make you stronger. Remember, she always said, you are never given more than you can handle.
That's reassuring. Didn't she also talk about the importance of surrendering your worries, your fears, to something bigger than yourself?
Absolutely. When we let go of the need to control everything, she said, that's when we open ourselves up to guidance, support, even solutions that we couldn't come up with on our own.
It's about trusting that even when we can't see the bigger picture, there's something bigger than us that's got our back.
Beautifully said. She even had an affirmation for this too. It goes, I cast this burden on the Christ within and I go free.
That's a great one to remember when things get tough. We don't have to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders.
Exactly. And in that surrender, often we find peace, freedom that we didn't even realize we were missing.
This whole conversation has been so empowering. Shinn, she really believed we're not victims, right? We're co-creators of our own lives. We get to choose our thoughts, speak our truth, and design a life that's in alignment with who we really are.
Perfectly put. That gets to the heart of what she taught. We're spiritual beings having this human experience, and we have endless potential to create a life full of joy, abundance, purpose.
It's amazing to think we all have that within us. Did Shinn, in her own life, did she ever struggle? Because she makes it sound easy, but I'm sure she had her own challenges, right?
Of course. Just like everyone else, she had her fair share of difficulties.
I'm glad to hear that. Makes her more relatable, It means these weren't just theories to her, she lived them.
Absolutely. She went through a very public divorce, and early in her career, she had money troubles.
So she wasn't just born into a life of privilege and ease, she had to work at it.
Exactly. She had to use her own teachings to get through those tough times and build the life she wanted.
That makes her story even more powerful. So it wasn't just what she taught, it was how she lived.
Exactly. And those experiences, they gave her this deep empathy, this understanding of what it means to be human. She knew what people were going through, and she dedicated her life to sharing these tools that helped her overcome her own struggles, tools to create a life of joy, abundance, purpose.
And it's incredible that her work still resonates so much today, all these years later.
It really is. Her work, It stood the test of time because it speaks to those deep truths about who we are, the power of our minds, our capacity for growth, healing, transformation.
Well, she definitely made an impact. Her teachings, they offer this beacon of hope, you know. We're not powerless. We are the ones in the driver's seat creating our own reality.
Beautifully said. And I think that's a message that we need now more than ever.
I agree. So, as we keep going with Shinn's work, what else can we look forward to uncovering?
Well, she talks a lot about love. Yeah. And how it has this incredible power to transform us, both loving ourselves and loving others.
Intriguing. Tell me more about that.
She believed love isn't just a feeling, it's this fundamental energy. It's everywhere, connecting everything.
Okay.
And when we tap into that energy within ourselves, that's when the magic happens.
So it's about cultivating this deep sense of love and acceptance for ourselves and for everyone around us.
Exactly. She really emphasizes how important it is to recognize our own worthiness.
Yeah.
You know, that we deserve love, we deserve abundance.
That's easier said than done, right? It's hard not to be your own worst critic. We focus on our flaws instead of celebrating our strengths.
Shinn would say that kind of self-criticism, it comes from a place of forgetting who we really are. We're divine beings, she'd say, created from love. We need to remember that, embrace our imperfections, be kind to ourselves, just like we would be to someone we love.
So quiet that inner critic. Replace it with love and encouragement.
Yes. She has a beautiful affirmation for cultivating self-love. It goes, I am now linked by an invisible, unbreakable magnetic cord with all that belongs to me by divine right.
Wow, I get chills when I hear that. It's like we're claiming what's rightfully ours. Love, abundance, all the good stuff. And it's not even about attracting it from outside. It's about realizing it's already within us.
Exactly. And when we cultivate that self-love, our energy changes. Remember, like attracts like. Radiate love, and you'll attract more of it into your life.
It's not about needing other people to give us love. It's about becoming a source of love ourselves.
Exactly. And this applies to every relationship, not just romantic ones.
Right, because when we hear the word love, we often think of romantic love. But Shinn's talking about something much bigger, something that extends to our families, friends, the people we work with, even strangers.
Exactly. She believed that when we approach everyone with love and compassion, our relationships become more harmonious, more fulfilling.
So it's not about keeping score or what we can get from others. It's about what we can give.
Exactly. She talked a lot about the importance of service, using your unique gifts and talents to make the world a better place.
I love that. True fulfillment doesn't come from just focusing on our own happiness, but recognizing that we're all connected and that we can make a difference.
Exactly. She believed when you align yourself with your divine purpose, when you use your gifts to help others, that's when you experience true meaning, real satisfaction.
It's all connected. What we do matters.
It really does. Our actions, even the small ones, they have a ripple effect.
It's amazing how she ties it all together, you know? Thoughts, intuition, love, it all becomes one philosophy for how to live.
She was really good at that, connecting the dots. Because none of it works in isolation, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not enough to just think positive. You have to trust your gut, act with love, and walk the walk, not just talk the talk.
Live authentically, you're saying.
Exactly. And it all goes back to that game of life concept. She wanted us to remember, life isn't meant to be this big, heavy struggle. It's an adventure.
I like that. Because we get so serious, we forget to have fun, lighten up.
That's what she's trying to tell us. Embrace the unknown. Be curious. Approach life as this grand adventure. Challenges, those are growth opportunities. Setbacks, they're just launching pads for something even better.
It's a total perspective shift. Instead of seeing lack, see abundance. Instead of fear, see possibility.
Exactly. And often, that shift starts with the words we use. Remember, the power of the spoken word.
Right. Our words shape our reality.
Exactly. Pay attention to how you talk to yourself. Are you encouraging, supportive?
Yeah.
Or are you putting yourself down without even realizing it?
We've got to become aware of those negative thought patterns and then consciously choose to reframe them.
Yes. And don't forget gratitude. Appreciate all the good that's already in your life.
Gratitude is so powerful. It helps you focus on what you have, not what you lack, and that opens you up to receive even more.
Exactly. Gratitude attracts blessings. And remember, abundance isn't just about money. It's about having richness in all areas. Relationships, health, meaningful work, that spiritual connection.
Living a life that feels full on every level.
Exactly. And she believed that was possible for everyone, no matter what.
That's an incredibly hopeful message. So absolutely. And to our listeners, we encourage you to dive into her books yourselves. See what resonates with you. Remember, your word is your wand. Choose your words wisely and create some magic.
Until next time, keep diving deep.